Welcome back to Underrated Movies. I'm your guy, I'm your man, Mr. Alton Henry. Today I'm going to talk to you of another film. A Netflix original, Polar, starring Mads Nicholson, Vanessa Hudgens, cameo appearance by Johnny Knoxville, and a few others. Not cameos, but others to the role, like Richard Dreyfuss. It's a story about a assassin named Polar, known as Mads Nicholson. What's your name, buddy? Duncan Visla, who is retired after 50 assassin, who's living a life of peace, living right next to a girl who's very depressed. But point is, his employer is postponing his pension and trying to sucker him out of it by sending assassins to kill him. And once that fails, Mads Nicholson's character goes after his money. Can't mess around with a person who wants his money. This is based off a graphic novel, I believe, a web comic book, which I think had a cult following to the word point where they made a movie. And straight up, this is like a comic booky visual feast. It has like a very parody like but grittiness to it, which I really liked. I really like how gritty it was. Where it has a sense of a satire vibe to this to this film. And Mads Nicholson goes all out on this. This dude is underrated as heck. I feel like he's been getting some recognition. He's been getting cast a lot in a lot of American movies for the past decade. But here, he is cool as this assassin who pretty much just wants to be left alone and wants his money. He tries to befriend with this girl, and he's an assassin that has a lot of regrets. Vanessa Hudgens plays a grieving person just trying to make it by. She is throughout the film, her character is basically depressed, to where you feel extremely sorry for her. But then you're kind of wondering where's all it coming from? It doesn't really happen. You don't really know anything much about her character until like the end. But she and Vivla, Mads Nicholson's character, start off with a pretty good friendship. It's more like people having something in common to where they're trying to bury their past and moving on, and it gets to a point where just certain circumstances prevent them from doing so. Now, this movie is gratuitously violent, but not to the extent to where it's like, well, maybe not too much gut plucking and all that, but it's bloody. It's very bloody. Strong, bloody violence you're gonna get for a good time. Especially for an action film like this. Compare it, I would say it's just as bloody as Dread, and I actually loved it. Like, I love the crazy violence that this film goes under, and with Mads Nicholson at the age of whatever he is, I think he's like 57, 58, beating the hell out of guys, and it's just wonderful seeing it. The main bad guy gets a little clowny, cartoony a bit, but it's a little funny, and it gets a little weird, but you know what? I think the film is just trying to be a fun, violent action movie where you just turn your brain off, you have a good time. That's really what it is. It's a enjoy your time movie, and there's actually pretty good, funny, and interesting parts where it's rarity where you see a protagonist fight goons bare ass naked in a shootout. Rarely do you ever see that, which was unique and creative. They also had some hot girls in here too. Lucky Mads. And then you've, well, yeah. That's probably one of my favorite moments in the film, which I think is ideally really the first action film. Actually, pretty much every action scene in here, which I don't know what the budget of this film was. It's probably have to be around 20 mil, because there's just set pieces where you feel the low budgetness of it, but they're able to pull off some pretty fantastic set pieces. Most particularly the hallway shootout scene where Mads escapes from the bad guy, and you see him just taking these guys out. He takes out like 15 guys, shooting them up and brawling them. A little similar to Old Boy, but instead of a hammer, he has a gun, and just knocks them out. And I like seeing the struggle that you see this guy go through, but it's badass. Really, and more gritty than John Wick. I know John Wick's being waved. You know, we have 3 films. We got a 4th one coming out, but if you see this one, you're like, dang, this dude, this is some grittiness to it, and it gets ugly. I mean, really ugly. And there's some violent, weird imagery, which I liked. And it's surprisingly, the movie was also very funny. You deal with the guy who's pretty much doesn't know how to be a role model, and yet he takes down role models in a way. There's a twist at the end. It was cool. I actually liked it, but it ends to where it feels like a sequel could possibly happen. And off the record, I definitely wouldn't mind for it, because I enjoyed this film. This was a very good action movie, especially if you're looking for a good time. Polar, have you seen it? Comment below. Let me know if you have, and let me know what is your favorite underrated movie currently on Netflix. Check it out. Netflix original.